Hi, guys. I'm Robin Kendric Triplett from the Coca-Cola Company, and you're listening to the CPG Guys podcast.
Welcome to the CPG Guys podcast. Your hosts, Sri Rajagopalan and Peter V.S. Bond, explore how brands and retailers engage consumers in an increasingly digitally driven world. And now, here are the CPG Guys. Hello and welcome to the CPG Guys podcast. I am your incorrigible co-host, PVSB, who also moonlights as head of industry and client engagement at Flywheel, the commerce acceleration division of Omnicom. Joining me today is my co-founder of this growing enterprise. He's also the chief revenue officer of Think Blue Consulting. He is the former CCO of General Mills. And of course, he is belovedly known by his daughter's fans as Papa Raj, the patriarch of the Raj family media empire. Of course, I'm talking about the man known as Sri. Sri, we're a week away from Labor Day. I hear you're going over to London. We're getting ready for conference season. What's going on, brother?
Labor Day, Wembley. Prior to Labor Day, next week, Wembley. Thanks to Ria Raj, I'm getting a bucket list moment with one of the greatest singer-songwriters of all time. So I don't want to jinx it. Keep my fingers crossed. Because, artists, they'll make their own decisions, but at least I have a pass to get backstage and hang with them.
That's a pretty good deal. And how about conferences, Sri? What do we got coming up? We got a big kickoff party at Grocery Shop.
Now, Peter, let's back up even before that. I'm hosting a dinner at San Diego on September.
Oh, that's right. CRC.
The night of the CRC event. So, folks, if you want to come to the dinner, you can ping me and let me know. Ping Peter, let us know. Our email address, as you already know, contact@cpgguys.com. That's straightforward.
If you're going to the CRC e-commerce summit in Chula Vista, the brand new Gaylord Resort down in San Diego, let Sri know. We'd love to have you for dinner that night. And then what else?
Hey, you can swing by the border, which is about less than 2 miles from there, and you can check out if the wall exists or not. How about that?
Oh my goodness, Sri! No.
And I did that.
Okay. And then we got a kickoff party at Grocery Shop, right? We've got a big event there.
Grocery Shop. Yeah, we've got a lot of things going on at Grocery Shop. Peter and I are hosting dinners Sunday night, Monday night, Tuesday night. Again, if you want to come, ping us. CPGguys.com. We have our, as always, event kickoff party. This is like the unofficial kickoff party for Grocery Shop. Ben Miller.
You're going to Amazon Accelerate with all the sellers. That's going to be a big event.
Yeah. And you and I are going somewhere to Nashville. Can you tell the audience about it?
Ooh, we're going to Unbox. That's in November. That's going to be a hot ticket for anyone who sells through Amazon. Amazon Ads is putting on their annual conference. So yeah, you're going to see the CPG Guys out and about in the wild over the next couple of months.
The year ends and it opens, and where do we head right away?
We go to CES because that's what you do.
Annual party.
Another kickoff party. We're throwing a lot of parties, Sri. We're the hostess with the mostest. It's kind of crazy, but it's looking good. All right, Sri, thanks again as always.
Never repeat that statement. We are the hostesses with the mostesses.
Okay. I was trying to rhyme, but maybe I didn't do that good a job. All right, Sri, thanks as always for joining me on this adventure. We'll talk a little more at the closing. To our audience, make sure you're subscribing to our podcast on your preferred listening platform: Apple, Spotify, Alexa, Audible, whatever it is. You can listen to the CPG Guys podcast because we're everywhere. We're ubiquitous, Sri. We're omnipresent.
I want to thank our one listener. I checked our stats.
Yeah.
Albania.
Yeah. We have an Albanian. Wow.
Thank you.
Albania. Okay. Do you remember? You have to go back and look. Now I'm dating myself. There's an old episode in the early seasons of Cheers where Coach has a mnemonic where he sings Albania. It borders on the Adriatic. Anyhow, this is for us old folk. Anyhow, what I want to say is make sure you listen to our podcast and go to cpgguys.com because all 515 of our previous episodes are there. You can search for them by topics of interest to you: marketing, retail media, AI. It's all there.
We have a new number one all-time listens on the CPG Guys. So
wait.
All time, leading by 10 downloads.
Someone exceeded Seth Dallaire from Walmart.
Yes.
I think I know who she is.
Yes. 10 downloads.
I think I know who she is.
It's Chiara Russo.
Kara Russo. Kara, we're announcing it here. You are now the most downloaded episode of the CPG Guys. Congratulations to you. I know you're probably on your way up to Cornell right now, dropping your daughter off for her freshman year. Very exciting times. But thanks for sharing that breaking news, Shri. All right, let's get to why we're here today. Our guest has been, our guest today has worked for what I would say, and I think Shri would concur, is arguably the most iconic brand in the world. From its roots at the counter of a local Atlanta pharmacy run by John Pemberton to its current portfolio of more than 200 beverages, the Coca-Cola Company is one of the most globally recognized brands in the world. Our guest today has been with Coca-Cola for nearly 15 years, serving in a number of different media-related roles. Today, she's the Vice President of Integrated Marketing Experiences, where she leads a team of marketers focused on a mission of unlocking the power of creativity, data, tech, media, and commerce to make every moment of truth addressable for consumers and shoppers. Please join Shri and me in welcoming to the podcast Robin Kendric Triplett. Robin, how are you? Welcome.
Hi, guys. I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
We are always happy to have, as I was regaling you at the beginning of our conversation before that we started recording, our very first significant brand guest was your former colleague, John Mount. And that was our first Coca-Cola guest. You're now the 9th guest to join us, but it was such a pleasure. And we've had recently quite a number of other guests from Coca-Cola, most notably Dagmar Boggs, who's been on food service, and Pam Stewart, your North America CCO. So we're just pleased as punch to have you on. So thank you for joining.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm really honored to even be in the same conversation with some of those world-class leaders and friends of mine. So I'm delighted to be here.
Hey, we're going to include in the digital show notes of this episode links to your LinkedIn page and Coca-Cola's page, because our audience likes to multitask. That way they can explore that as we carry on our conversation. That's why we do podcasting. We started as a YouTube channel, and we found that it disabled people from multitasking because you kind of have to sit there and look at the screen. And we thought podcasting's better. People can do a little work, go for a run, and why not do a little browsing so they can look at your LinkedIn profile while we're carrying on this great conversation. So let's get to the questions Shri and I have prepared. I'll kick it off and we'll interchange. But I guess that right off the top, what does the title Integrated Marketing Experiences mean at Coca-Cola? Which disciplines really report into your organization? What are kind of like the outcomes that you're seeking to achieve on behalf of the company?
Yeah, sure. So when we talk about marketing at the Coca-Cola Company, one of the key pieces of our marketing transformation is focused on experiences. And so we believe that marketing is about emotions and feelings and memories that consumers have just as much as it is about our amazing products. And so when I refer to integrated marketing experiences and the remit that I have within Coca-Cola, the role is to deliver integrated solutions for our customers and for our brands. And so that cuts across 9 distinct disciplines. In this case, it's anything from our data strategy to social, to paid media, to own platforms, retail media, shopper, customer creative, multicultural, and design. And I have the real honor for caring for these convergent teams across the U.S. and Canada.
Robin, welcome to the CPG Guys. How you doing? And we're excited to have, Coca-Cola is such a multinational global company. We're always excited to have someone on because we always get these amazing, diverse set of perspectives from around the world on how things are going. And that's the nature of my question to you, right? Would love to learn your integrated approach, your general approach to integrated campaigns that spans media. You, of course, are very focused on commerce at the end of the day, multicultural, and other creative touch points, because your greatness has come not just in the US, it's come internationally, but US is your biggest market.
Yeah. So listen, we start every kind of body of work, if you will, through the lens of consumer first and data led, which is probably not surprising to hear. But I'll say that It is really critically important to deeply understand our consumers, their wants, their needs, their barriers, their drivers, to understand the value that we can play for them. And although we are a large company, yes, with many scaled brands, and we are in many countries around the world, it's really important for us to not lose ourselves and lose sight of the fact that we need to ensure that algorithms and averages are not the way in which we market. And we need to focus on how best to deliver those resonant and relevant creative and marketing programs. Because at the end of the day, we're focused on those mass moments, just like Olympics and FIFA that are coming up next year that we're so honored to be hosting in the US, but also those micro moments as well. And so I would say that's very critical for us, being consumer first and data led, but not losing sight at averages and algorithms in order to ensure that we are showing up in the everyday lives of our consumers. I think we're really proud in saying that for, 139 years, we've been able to build quite a stable portfolio of brands that have transcended time. And those very simple principles are what have got us to where we are today.
The size and scale of what you guys do and the amazing audience reach you have, customer reach, consumer reach you have, also means you're probably, Robin, working with lots of teams all over the place. Not necessarily just in Atlanta, all over the US. How does it feel to work with that many diverse teams, and how do you rope it all together so you can truly get the best campaigns for Coca-Cola?
It is a pretty awe-inspiring role and an awe-inspiring company to work for, truly. Every single day, whether I'm working from home or I'm going into the office, that of which we do, the impact that we have on polishing the brands is not lost on anyone. That being said, you are absolutely correct. It is a highly connected and highly cross-functional group of individuals that we are working across in order to bring our products and our value into the world. I would say I'm a big believer in cross-functional teams that understand their net new unduplicated value and the excellence that they bring as a subject matter expert, mixed with the enterprise mindset that we need to have in order to deliver kind of the collaborative goal, whether that is launching a marketing campaign or a test and learn type of an experiment to propel us forward. It's really important to have the expertise and the enterprise mindset mixed with the accountability for those that came before you and those that will come after you for the brands and company that we support.
Your talk about innovation sparked in my mind a memory that I hadn't thought about in a while. During my time at dunnhumby, I had the distinct pleasure of going to Coca-Cola's super secret innovation lab. And it's in that nondescript strip mall not too far away from the office, where they take big clients and they have the completely immersive 360 theater and the setup store. That was one of my most enjoyable experiences. I probably broke the rule of Fight Club because I just talked about Fight Club, but I was always impressed with that particular event. But let me get back to our questions. How do you align integrated marketing efforts with evolving consumer behavior, especially in the digital shopping space? Because I think about something like, and Sheree and I talk about this all the time, the case in point, how your consumers started mixing your core power beverage with Coca-Cola and coming up with protein Cokes. Like, how do you turn that into something? It obviously went viral. How do you leverage it? How do you ride the wave and build brand equity off something that your consumers are doing? How does this all come together?
So it kind of goes back to what I was talking about before in terms of listening and learning to our consumers. Anything from social listening to deep analytics across platforms, our customers, and also our system. We have a really beautiful system of bottlers and customers who know everything that's happening in every location around the US and Canada. And so listening and learning is at the core of what we do. And so in the case that you talked about, listening to what's happening in social communities and chatter. And I'll be honest with you, in some instances, we want to lean in and engage in some of those conversations. And in some, we don't. And I think that's absolutely okay as well. And I think having that intentionality around what we are listening and learning to and how we decide to lean in or just let people enjoy our brands and our products with, little to no intervention from us is okay. One of the things at the Coca-Cola Company that I really love and I'm most proud of is this concept of a learning mindset. We talk a little bit about what has got us here the past 139 years. We know is not exactly what's going to get us to the next 139 years. And so honoring what we know to be true, but also being really comfortable with what we don't know and really comfortable about learning future forward. And so that learning mindset and that learning culture allows us the kind of ability to be at the forefront of what's happening, but also humble enough to listen and be intentional about where maybe we don't have a role or things that maybe are breaking the paradigms of what we know to be true.
Robin dropped two nuggets over there, and I just want to get back to it. One is listening to the field, forgotten art in corporate America today. You talked about listening to bottlers, people in the field. These people are in store. These people are engaging with store managers, with buyers, with customers all over the place. You also talked about social listening, your consumers. Equally important. Listening is the single most important virtue, and I think most large brands have forgotten that. So congratulations for doing that. And the second one, about 2 questions ago, you casually mentioned data-driven approach, and that's why I'd like to go deeper into. I asked about integrated marketing campaigns. So many people that you work with, you got to probably get a lot of approvals, do it the right way for Coca-Cola. What role does data play in shaping your IMC efforts? And what are the sort of data sources now that you said you also do a lot of social listening?
For sure. We have a full data strategy that is grounded in the use, as you would imagine, in first, second, and third party data. I know you guys know this, but for maybe some of our listeners, it's just good to let you guys know that, a large majority of our business runs directly through our retail and our food service partners. And so we operate a large scale business, that of which we do not see our transactions directly. And therefore, a hybrid data approach is the most effective for our business. Our data strategy, as I mentioned, is grounded in capturing our own first-party data, having that direct access to consumers that have engaged with us and have given us the honor of having their data, as well as second and third-party data, that of which we very much listen to and analyze from our customers, our platforms, our media partners, in order to get a view of the whole of the consumer across the whole of the portfolio. But I think that's really important for people to know, because when you don't necessarily have direct access to transactions, right? And kind of seeing that full funnel, that's where the hybrid data approach is really critical. So we do deploy that, and that's a critical piece of our marketing efforts, whether it's from paid media and social, whether that's from retail media, all the way down to the way in which we view nurturing the relationship that we have with consumers who have given us their data. That's a really big accountability to the team that I get the benefit of overseeing, because we want to ensure that the products we create, the experiences we deliver, those moments and those memories that hopefully everybody holds true that they have for some of our brands, we are continuously delivering on that value. And the best way to do that is to know our consumer deeply through the data strategy that I just shared.
So then, Robin, I'd love to understand how your team connects the dots, taking something that is digital or social in the experience and actually bring it all the way down to where you sell most of your volume, which is through physical retail. As Sri is sitting there, and you don't see this on the screen, but he was holding up a social media post by probably some famous pop star. That's your product. Yeah, that's right. You have we got Sri some of those.
One at home, and I was in shock, and I'm like, wow.
So back to my question: how do you connect the dots between doing something on social or digital and seeing it come to life in activation at physical retail, which is where most of your volume occurs.
Yep. Well, I'm delighted to see that social media post. Share a Coke is such a beautiful marketing campaign that kind of is everything that Coca-Cola represents. So thanks for sharing that. Listen, we start with a clear objective. And a clear job to be done. And I think the important caveat here is the clear objective and clear job to be done, which in a lot of cases is not everything, right? And so focusing on those jobs to be done, focusing on the consumer, what are we looking to do? Are we looking to provide a specific value? Like the notion of Share a Coke, which is all around that moment of connectivity that people can have around a shared Coca-Cola beverage. Are we looking to change behavior, right? Are we looking to do something different? Are we looking to capitalize on a new behavior? And then kind of prioritizing those marketing levers that deliver the highest confidence to get the job done. It's no surprise to anybody. Listen, we live in an omni-channel world, and consumers and shoppers move fluidly through platforms and partners, and we need to ensure that we're showing up in the same way. And so oftentimes I talk a little bit about falling in love with the and what this means is that it is both short and long term. It's both building long-term brand equity consistently over time, as well as focusing on immediate sales. And so what you'll hear a lot from the Coca-Cola Company and from me from an integrated marketing experience perspective is it is about both brand and performance marketing. A lot of people talk to us and we are heavy in brand marketing and building brand equity. And again, those moments and those feelings and connections over time, but it is also about performance. And so I think that's a bit of a new discussion to have with CPG companies, especially those that don't see the transaction all the way through, that we have to be very attribution minded. And look at both brand and performance marketing in everything we do.
Again, another trigger. I'm all of a sudden remembering all the acronyms from the Coca-Cola system, OBPPC and what have you, which is all about execution at retail. So thank you for these vivid memories that are popping back into my head. And I also don't think I didn't miss you saying how consumers move fluidly. That was a nice reference as well, Robin.
An omni-channel, I feel like that is also a very buzzy word.
Let me remind our audience that we're speaking today with Robin Kendric Triplett from the Coca-Cola Company. Shri.
That was the only word I remembered from physics class because I hated the subject and never got through it through grade school. Robin, earlier we chatted quite a bit about cross-functional working, etc., people, etc. So I'm sure the audience is chomping at the bit to hear from you of particularly innovative or cross-functional project your team led recently, and then what you think made it successful.
Yeah, so I thought I would talk about two, one expected and maybe one not so expected. I think maybe the expected one would be Share a Coke. This is a large global program that actually started outside of the US many years ago. And it is something that has successfully scaled to many markets around the world. And it is probably the most beautiful manifestation of the core of what Coca-Cola stands for, that moment of sharing with someone else and that moment of connection. But I offer that as an example because it is also indicative of how our system works. It has to show up in outlet in a way that allows people to engage, share, and connect at scale. And so it is not just a marketing program. It is not just an opportunity for connection and sharing, but it also goes all the way through to where our shoppers are able to actually buy our products, share, consume. And I'm always really delighted to see and hear how many people are looking for those personalized cans and bottles for their friends and their family members. And whether you look for the names in your local grocery store or you buy those and personalize them online, I do think it really shows how connected people are with our brands and how that moment of connection and sharing can mean so much. That really does transcend beyond the product in and of itself. Maybe an unexpected one I'll talk about is a couple of years ago, it became really clear to the organization that we needed to not only think about our brand equity marketing, but also what does it mean for Coca-Cola to have their own performance marketing engine? And I talk about this because it's something that we have developed that really leans into a data-driven approach to media. And in this case, when I say media, I'll talk about media in the macro sense, brand media as well as retail media and commerce. And it allowed us to get really clear on consumer segmentation, data-driven consumer segmentation by brand, where our high-value audiences, both in the core and growth, were coming from, and deploy at scale a performance engine that really at its core allowed us a constant learning loop of what's working, what's not, where can we build modern media, brilliant basics in this performance marketing space and consistently measure and optimize to drive greater attribution within our media. And so I offer those two examples, something very big and something really beautiful in Share a Coke that most everybody is probably familiar with, or at least I hope they are. And then maybe something a little unexpected around our Coca-Cola performance marketing engine that is something that is really driving a lot of learning and best practices in a new world of marketing for a 139-year-old brand.
So here we sit now, Robin, in a world of closed loop measurement. So I'm kind of teeing this up for you, given you gave us an idea of what responsibilities fall into your remit. How do you connect integrated marketing experiences to measurable business outcomes? Sales lift, brand equity, long-term value, new to brand, those kind of things. What are you doing to make sure the organization knows that you are investing their media dollars wisely?
Absolutely. It's not lost on me the degree of accountability that me and my team have in overseeing media for North America. And so what I'll tell you is we begin with the end and with outcomes in mind. Attribution is key. It is priority number one. We are intentional about our objectives, whether it be equity, transactions, frequency, and we create systems focused around that job to be done, consistently measured with every dollar we deliver back what that attribution is, and that is across brand media as well as retail media. It is probably not surprising to anyone that we have a measurement suite, that of which we have various different tools that we utilize to discern attribution and quality and sufficiency in everything we do. I will say working at the Coca-Cola Company and being a media practitioner means that analytics and attribution is part of the job description. Especially these days where we have modernized our media mix over the past handful of years to really be focused on digital media and digital kind of in the macro sense, if you will. So we are very focused on attribution in everything that we do. And it is a core competency that we require for our agencies, as well as for the talent that we hire.
Awesome, Robin. I get the next fun question, which is about the future and about what's taking place today with consumers. What are some fun emerging trends you're actually following? AI, immersive media, retail media, the changing attention span of the consumer, which is the size of a peanut, maybe even smaller pine nut at this point. What's on your mind? Is something else you're looking at? What are you most excited for in marketing?
I love when I get the question around trends because I have to be honest, we don't necessarily focus on trends as much as we focus on what is the consumer behavior change that is happening that can have impact in the long term of shifting mindsets and behaviors over time. And so I'll talk a little bit about this philosophy that I have within my team and the way in which I lead the team that is focused on future-proofing our company starts with future-proofing our people. And so it can be trends or radical behavior change, that of which is data and technology, that of which is AI. We are absolutely focused in those areas around ensuring our people are learning, listening, and experimenting with new technology and data that is changing behavior. But I wouldn't necessarily call it trends. Trends tend to be a little bit more fleeting, and we have really big, beautiful brands that need to transcend time. And so I will say that's really where we're more focused. That, of course, when we take a look in the social media space and trends and things like that, absolutely, we will focus on where our brands make sense there. But in the macro, it's really around large impact drivers that are able to change behaviors. And so capability building and allowing our people to be future-proofed is going to allow us to deliver more meaningful impact in the long term. The other piece we talked a little bit about is embracing a learning and an experimentation mindset. When we're starting to see data, technology, or areas such as a trend, it's important for us to test and learn. What is our hypothesis? What are we trying to learn? And how do we lean in quickly? I'll be honest with you guys. This is something that sounds so obvious and so easy to do, but getting a large tenured organization to be agile and nimble in a way to experiment quickly, understand the results, and then action and optimize is a capability and a muscle that we have been building as part of our marketing transformation the past few years. Something I'm also really proud of, within our marketers within North America as well. And then I'd say last but not least, it is focused in this space of trends and learning as humble confidence. It is a mindset and it is a way of working to be super confident in what you know, but humble enough in what you don't. And that allows us to try some things that may not work and be really okay when things fail or don't work well for us. And that all wraps itself nicely into trends and experimentation for impact for the future.
I commend you on that. I think being humble in your approach to tending to the brand is critically important in an era of creators. I remember the old days when social media started to show its face, and there was a bit of a tendency to lean towards whack-a-mole and saying, no, this is, I will tell you what my brand is about. And listening to how your consumers talk about your brand is equally, if not more important, to making sure that you're taking their considerations into account. So a couple of fun questions for you, Robin. In 2022, you were actually honored as one of Ad Age's 40 Under 40 recipients. What do you think really contributed to that recognition?
Well, I appreciate that little humble brag there.
Got to throw it out there.
Yeah. I say that, listen, awards are really are wonderful and lovely to receive, but I think probably in the macro sense, our industry right now is really seeking and hungry for diversity of impact and diversity of transformation that drives results. And so I think regardless of kind of where the industry chooses to focus, and in this case, maybe it's a 40 under 40, I think the ability to shine a light on brands and companies that are driving transformation in new and different ways is really where the focus is. And in this case, the opportunity to showcase the media transformation that we had delivered around the data and digital transformation and what we're looking to do with a real emphasis on attribution was an opportunity for me to share that story with that team.
All right, Peter. So I'm telling the world publicly that I work out 4 days a week. I strength train, resistance training for 45 minutes, like intense strength training, and I'm usually huffing and puffing, exhausted, dragging the rest of the evening. And then I learned Miss Robin Kendric Triplett here has completed not 1, not 2, not 3, let's count it, Peter, not 4, not a handful, but 6 marathon world majors. 6 marathon world majors, and even wants to complete the 7 continents. How in the world does someone do 6 marathon world majors? And then I got to imagine that's influencing your leadership style.
Yeah, listen, this is actually one of my favorite topics to talk about. And it is not my favorite topic to talk about it because of running the 6 world marathon majors. It is my favorite topic to talk about because it is a hard-fought goal that kind of drives who I am as a human. I am an avid runner, but I'm actually really terrible. It is something that is very hard for me. I did not grow up with a natural ability as an athlete. And one of the things that I love is to have a personal passion and find joy in something and fulfillment in something that you are not good at really requires you to learn how to push forward, learn how to move through when things get really difficult. And so it has taught me quite a bit about discipline and resilience that, listen, parallels to my professional life in very real ways. As a leader, I really try to encourage, myself and people to find the power of their own potential and reach further than they knew imaginable. Those people that knew me growing up, I played soccer growing up. I was open about hating running. And so people who know me as an adult are like, is that the same woman? And so I think finding that power in your own potential and focusing on the concept of why not me really shows the power of discipline, attitude, aptitude, and effort. And then even from a place of strategic thinking, it helps me navigate life and work with a bit of a longer view, knowing when we need to pace ourselves, right? Knowing when we need to recover, when we need to push further, when we need to hold back. It also allows me to deeply appreciate the joy of the journey. And this is the same thing in your career, right? There is for a lot of us no clear end goal in mind. It is about the process. It's about the day-to-day. It's around those people that are on the journey with us that allow us to succeed. And it's also the acknowledgement that some of the days are going to be bad days. If you are a runner, a good one or a bad one, I'll tell you some days you'll go out there and run 13 miles and feel amazing. And then the next day you'll run 3 and beyond the struggle bus. And both of those days are very valuable. I'll also go ahead and tell you that last September, I had the opportunity to hit my goal of running all 7 continents. And something I'm really proud of. But again, I take a look at that and I self-reflect to say, that journey, that process, that resilience constantly reminds me of it is great to set goals and it is wonderful to acknowledge them and reach them. But the discipline, the attitude, the aptitude, and the effort is what it is all about.
13 miles, man. Like, how does it make you feel?
Shri, here's my question, Robin. Is Antarctica one of those continents?
It is, yes.
How do you do that? Do you have like spiked ice shoes? Seriously, that's amazing. All right. To our audience, thank you for joining us twice each week for our podcast conversation. We greatly appreciate the over 38,000 followers on LinkedIn. Do you know that the number 7 company, Shri, in terms of followers listening to the podcast is the Coca-Cola Company?
Also 7th marathon coming up in it.
I know. And of course, we love that you like and share our content. Please do follow us on your preferred listening platform, Apple, Spotify, whatever. We look forward to seeing you in person this fall at one of the many conferences we outlined at the beginning of this episode. Shri, big takeaway from this great conversation.
It was way up early in the conversation. I strongly believe, Peter, in the last 5 years, when the industry focused on inflation, most brands were trying to figure out their RGM, revenue growth management, and pricing strategies, and moved away from listening to the consumer. Robin talked early up on listening to single most thing in my mind. Many people are listening to consumers from a social listening standpoint. There's nothing new about that. But the importance of listening to the bottler, the people who are actually getting it done in the field for you every day, they have grassroots. They have grassroots listening, and listening to them extremely important. So listening is a skill set. Cannot re-emphasize that in any bigger way than we're doing this episode.
Yeah, consumer first, data led. What I loved Robin sharing was how they start with attribution in all their plans. Outcomes are key. Their systems are focused and measured against every dollar and the associated attribution. That means that they are good stewards of the money that they've been given to advance their business and their brand. So I couldn't agree more. Robin, thank you so much for joining. I should mention to you, next time you're at the World of Coca-Cola and you're up on the second floor in the memorabilia rooms and you see a collection of 20 iPhone covers, each with a different brand of Coca-Cola on it, those are mine. Those are from my dunnhumby days. Yeah, I can't believe it. I literally every time I would go in and meet with a brand manager, I would just take off the phone cover and put their brand on. It worked like a charm. That's all I'm going to say. Everybody loves people who are fans of their brand. But thank you so much for taking time out of your day today to have this conversation with us. We greatly appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Sheree, thanks as always for you joining me on this journey. To our audience, we want to thank you. We look forward to speaking with you on the next episode of wait for it, the CPG Guys. Goodbye. The content in this podcast episode is provided for general informational purposes only. By listening to our episode, you understand that no information contained in this episode should be construed as advice from CPG Guys LLC or the individual author, hosts, or guests, nor is it intended to be a substitute for research on any subject matter. Reference to any specific product or entity does not constitute an endorsement or recommendation by CPG Guys LLC. The views expressed by guests are their own, and their appearance on the program does not imply an endorsement of them or any entity they represent. The views expressed by CPG Guys LLC do not represent the views of their employers or the entity they represent. CPG Guys LLC expressly disclaims any and all liability or responsibility for any direct, indirect, incidental, special, consequential, or other damages arising out of any individual's use of, reference to, or inability to use this podcast or the information we present in this podcast.